some exercise and some painting. Or is that the other way around? I say, or is it the other way round? Because to be honest with you, physical and exercise and I have never really been easy bedfellows. So to make the whole experience marginally more palatable, I've decided to incorporate it with the painting of the odd postcard. I've always liked the thought of a postcard. I think they're lovely things. A little picture on the front and actual handwriting on the other side. Who today wouldn't be cheered by finding one on their doormat from an old friend? I think it's a little bit sad that the digital era has made them all a bit redundant. I hope one day they'll make some kind of comeback, like vinyl did for music. Of course, one of the other things that makes exercise marginally more palatable is the place I get to do exercise in. I'm fortunate enough to live in the heart of the Somerset countryside, which is an incredible landscape all year round. I lived in London for nearly a quarter of a century, the final part being in Hackney in East London. I really like living in Hackney and I love it here as well. You couldn't get two more distinctive landscapes. Yes, Somerset is a fantastic place, as beautiful as Tuscany in Italy, only with a lot more rain. No rain today, however. The sun is shining, so I'm going to cycle a couple of miles down the road to the next village. That's Pilton village, and I'm going to paint their church. We have finally arrived at Pilton village. It was first mentioned in the Domesday Book in 1086, and I've got a feeling it was here for a long time prior to then. Since that time, I don't think it's changed that much, which can only be a good thing. The subject of the day is this, the 15th century church of St Thomas a Becket. It's a lovely old building, and I've painted it a few times. I always keep coming back for some reason, probably because it's only 2 miles from Pilton where I live. I'm a bit lazy on the exercise side of things. The rest of Pill is just as quiet as the church really. It's got a small lake, complete with a few ducks floating about here and there, a couple of old farm buildings, and it even has its own manor house. It was deserted for years and had a lovely sort of spooky Daphne du Maurier feel to it. I think people are living there now. Anyway, I better get some work done. Generally when I do my postcards, they're not all completed on site. There's always something mad busy at the studio, and after all it's supposed to be about getting some exercise. So more often than not I'll do a quick visual while I'm there, supported with a few photographs, and complete them back in the studio. But being as you're here today, I'm going to do the whole thing from scratch, so here we go. Right, here's a quick reminder of the view, and as it's about cycling I thought I'd put my bike in. I'm not sure about the wheels though. Wheels can be tricky, especially on small things. So here we go. Right, now first about the drawing, getting the drawing in first, trying to be as neat as possible. And then some guy a lot smarter than me said when you do a painting start with the sky, so we're going to start with the sky. A little bit reflective on the blue, but hopefully it will go in and that will sort of set the idea for the rest of it. Here we go. Okay, now the blue seems to be fully dry, so I'm going to move quickly on to the next stage. Here we go. For the next stage, I'm purely doing tonal values. No colour, perhaps a bit of warm and cold. and it's just putting in the shadows in and the darker bits of the bike and the darker bits of the trees. I don't know anyone else who works like this actually, but it's a really good way of starting off. That's the tonal values done. As you can see, it could look a bit like a snow scene at this stage, but now we can start adding a bit of colour. As we're in the countryside, the most predominant colour is green, so let's begin there. Now greens are notoriously hard to paint. I do find them difficult myself. Maybe it's because in evolutionary terms we see more variations of green than any other colour. But I'm working through as warm and cold and light and dark, and then just see how it all comes out. Oh, now with the greens sorted, we're about 90% there. Now I'm just going to start adding a little bit of colour to the tower, and then start pushing some other colours around, bringing a few more tones here and there just to try and tie it all up for the end. As I come to the end of a painting, I occasionally bring in bits of gouache. Now to some watercolourists this is a mortal sin. I've never been one for the rules myself, and it gives a nice effect, I think. As a final touch, I'm just going to bring in some darker shadows in there, and also the ground seems to be dropping off a little bit, so I'm going to bring some sort of shadows from the trees in from the right hand side. That just sort of ties it up nicely, I think. Right, I think we're about done now, which is just as well because the sun's getting pretty hot and I've got to cycle all the way home. If you enjoyed this, perhaps you'd like to subscribe to my YouTube page down there, and also perhaps press that little bell for notifications. Also, on my website, liamofarrell.com, you can sign up to my newsletter. I do one about once a month or so about various jobs, this and that. And also with each newsletter, there's a free draw where I give away an original watercolour. Probably a bit like this one here, really. So that's not bad, is it? Anyway, thanks for watching, and all the best to you.